you just start game 3 and trust that adjustments will be made and things?
We'll just see. We have time. We have 48 hours. I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing right now because I don't know. But we'll figure it out. I'm very confident about this series. Very.
So, what would have made Doc that confident after a game in which his team trailed by as many as 15 with 5 minutes left in the game? After all, the Pacers had spent 2 games abusing their starting center, forcing Doc to cut his minutes by 20% in Game 2, and they still couldn't pull out a victory. And another starter, Kyle Kuzma, joined a very dubious club by not scoring, assisting, rebounding, stealing, or blocking the ball even once while playing over 20 minutes in Game 1. But something happened towards the end of Game 2 that gave the Bucks some hope. Midway through the fourth quarter, after the Pacers had lapped them 15 times, the Bucks went on a 13-0 run to cut it to 2. For the first time, it felt like the Bucks had a chance. The key to the Bucks' success on offense is whether they properly leverage Giannis' gravity. And on this possession, as Portis sets the very high ball screen, both defenders stick with Giannis. Nembhard is afraid to leave Dame in the corner, so he gives a little wave to Portis on his pop, but this is a wide open 3 for a very solid shooter. They run it again in the next play, and this time Nembhard comes out farther to delay the pass and give Turner a chance to recover. They try to find the same advantage with the handoff as Dame turns the corner, drawing 2, and Portis gets that same 3. However, watch how Giannis just tosses Nesmith aside to grab the board and put it back. Nothing sneaky or subtle here, but the refs miss it. They try it again going in the other direction, and the Pacers basically zone this up, with Toppin ignoring Kuzma to shut down a lane for Giannis until Nesmith can recover. But once the Pacers relax, Giannis sees red with only one defender on him, and that charge to the basket gets him the goaltended layup. Next up, it's Dame time, as he's still a guy that can create advantages off the dribble. The skip dribble gets him into the middle, and defensive rotations can be tricky, especially when the drive crosses the midline like he does here. Since he's going towards Turner, the weak side is the left side of the court, meaning Toppin is the guy who's supposed to help. If Turner does it, it's one pass away, allowing the easiest pass for a guard to make and the easiest shot for Portis to hit. The other way they could have guarded this is to X out Nesmith from the wing to the corner, which would have left Giannis wide open on the wing with little Nembhard closing out to him and plenty of time on the shot clock. So, once Turner helps like he does, you're pretty much finished. Still, Rick Carlisle probably wasn't that concerned with an 8-point lead 3.5 minutes to go and a rocking home crowd cheering them on. So Doc turns to a horn set through Portis at the high post. This action is Denver's bread and butter if you can picture Murray back screening, then coming around for a handoff from Jokic. This gets Dame a major advantage into the paint, but he turns down the shot, preferring the patented Curry drive, kick, replace method of getting a tough 3-point shot off. Giannis muscles for the rebound, probably lands before completing the pass, and just tosses it out hoping Portis can find the loose ball and hit his 6th 3-pointer of the night. This might be anecdotal, but doesn't it feel like so many of these playoff games hinge on offensive rebounding these days? The Bucks simply do not run enough Dame Giannis pick and rolls for my taste, and the sweet pocket pass makes the Pacers screw up their rotation out of the corner yet again. This is Nesmith's rotation, not Turner's, and they get away with it when Portis is long on his wide open 3, but not so fast. Kuzma might not be scoring a ton, but he finds a way to help by grabbing the board, and we shouldn't be surprised to see Dame hitting an incredibly long shot deep in the fourth quarter. This series will be decided by how well the Bucks can defend the Pacers' half-court attack. In their 2 wins, Indiana's offensive ratings put them in the pole position, and the biggest culprit was Brook Lopez. Right off the bat, you can see Turner telling Nesmith to get it to Halliburton so he can go screen and force the switch. Just watch how Hallie hits him with a crossover hezzy. The key is that his right foot jabs backwards, and like a tractor beam, Lopez jumps at him, and now we've got that same mistake in rotation. Giannis cannot help one pass away off the corner. Now, if they wanted to X this out, then Kuzma should have been running to the corner at the moment it leaves Hallie's hands. But it seems clear the Bucks do not have this method in their defensive bag, and this shot is way too easy. Same idea on this play later in the first, and notice how the help defense doesn't arrive, and it looked like Lopez was doing nicely to bottle this up, but the stop on a dime, spin, shot fake, step through off both feet with the left leaves Brook flailing at air. At any moment they like, the Pacers can bring Lopez's man up to ball screen, and Hallie embarrasses him here with a swivel split that makes Lopez think he was pulling for three. Giannis has no hope of getting there in time, and it's a slam dunk. I'm always looking for ways to pre-switch this to keep Lopez hovering near the lane and someone else go up to defend the pick and roll. But Carlisle is smart to put Turner on the nail and cut Hallie through the lane and out to the wing. There just isn't a defender you'd want to take Lopez's spot close enough. And Lopez is turning and stopping and starting and watching as Giannis loses Siakam on the baseline cut, and their defense is just a mess with Lopez out there. Defensive stats are typically really noisy, but when my eye test is telling me something, it's easier to believe that this on-off stat is pretty accurate, as the Bucks are 20 points per 100 possessions worse when he's on the floor. Doc is not playing him after his start of the third quarter stint, and here's one more reason why. In their favored drop coverage, we can expect Lopez to keep in front of Halliburton off the dribble, so I get why he's trying to lure him into the dreaded mid-range. But with a hard roll from Turner sucking in the defense, this is like shooting practice that gave the Pacers enough breathing room to hold them off at the end. The only way Lopez can keep himself on the floor is to be able to get some points back on the other end with his normally reliable three-point shooting. And based on the shot quality he's getting off the pick and pops, I'd say it's likely he'll have at least one game where he hits 4 threes and balances out some of his defensive issues. But don't be surprised if Doc has a short leash if he starts out missing early in the following games. The way the Bucks got back into the series was a third quarter run powered by Gary Trent Jr. and his triples. For context, in the 74 games he played this year, he hit as many as 5 in a whole game just 6 times. In Game 3, he hit 5 in 1 quarter. And they were all predicated on that Giannis gravity we were talking about. And if Doc can keep his guys focused on how best to leverage that, they should be able to generate great looks against a team that was 8th best in defending the three-point shot in the regular season. As Giannis begins backing down in the post, he draws 2 defenders. From here, the rotation should go like this. Nembhard goes to the first pass, Halliburton closest to the wing, and technically it would be Turner who gets the corner since he's closer. But Lopez does something smart here, setting the flare screen on Turner, and had Nesmith turned and ran the second the pass was kicked out, he would have had a better contest. Instead, it's a pretty good look. The Pacers have to keep sending extra defenders at Giannis since he's averaging over 35 a game in the series. This drive lures 4 defenders to him, then the post-up sees Siakam fly by first, and while I discourage doubling down to the post from 1 pass away, Nembhard recognized it pretty quickly, but when Trent uses the hop, it's a hyper-quick release that's open, and now he's hotter than fish grease. And you know the basketball gods are looking down upon you when Giannis again draws the attention of a second defender in transition. Nembhard even knocks the dribble away, but it lands directly into Trent's hands wide open, and now the score is tied. Doubling the ball out top is always very risky since Giannis has his choice of which side of the floor to attack. They smartly bring Green to the wing on the same side as Trent. Toppin has to get to the shooter here, and this was supposed to be Turner rotating to the corner. They blow it, and Trent gets the easiest shot he'll have all series. And this became an early dagger, as the Pacers never really threatened after this, as Giannis aggressively drives to the hoop, so the Pacers have to bring a second defender. The defense properly forms an L around the double team, but the nice little 45 cut by Porter Jr. distracts Ben Shepherd long enough that he's 4 steps late getting out to Trent, who just buries the shot. The good news for the Bucks is that Dame is due for a good game after coming back from a long layoff, and they're at home where role players always shoot better. The Pacers have to continue whipping the ball around the horn, knowing the Bucks' rotations will get screwed up more often than not, as they are throwing over 80 more passes per game than Milwaukee, and that gives them an edge in three-point makes, which has been one stat that has defined whether the Pacers have won or not. These two teams are very evenly matched, and it's going to go 7 games.